Hi, it's Hans at happierman.com. Today's topic is your power. Well, I think you'll find that if you can focus on your own life, not worry so much about everyone else and what they're telling you to do all the time, you'll have you'll feel much more powerful, and by the feeling of being powerful, you'll do things that are, let's say, better for you, more to your liking, and the effect will be you'll have enormous power over your life. So, a lot of us get caught up in, worried about what someone in authority would say to do. And these authority figures, you can see that they like this, right? And it doesn't have to be somebody like in governmental authority. It can be just whoever, right? Sometimes your wife becomes this kind of governor over your life, and she, thinks that she should make all the decisions for you, her husband, and that whatever you say really doesn't matter, and how you'd like to live your life doesn't matter. So to me, that's where it starts. Is if you're in a marriage where you're not really feeling any power as a man, as a husband, it's a marriage you probably have to leave, right? Because your wife is taking control of your life, and then once someone has taken control of another person's life, they really don't like to relinquish that power. Like we see this now with the COVID situation. Let's say some of the governments or parts of the government have taken like enormous power and liberty in, removing our normal life from us, and they're not wanting to kind of roll it back, right? So we'll see, if time will tell on the COVID situation. This is February 2021. So we'll see if, we should be at that point where things start rolling back to where we, the people, would like them to be. But we'll see, we'll see if we have to just take it back, right? And I would suggest that you follow this guide with all your life, and especially your personal relationships. So I have my book, Leave Your Wife and Become a Happier Man, the 3-step system, available on the happierman.com website. So if your wife is kind of acting like a ruler, making your life a living hell, you might want to check out that book and see if this makes sense to you as a way to take control back of your life, because the control you have over your own life is very, very important. I don't know if I want to say it's the most important, but it's got to be at near the top. You can't say that you have a good life if you don't have any control over it. And meaning, if you're not happy, if your preferences aren't being met, if your needs aren't met, well, yeah. And if your desires are so far away from you ever getting a few of them accomplished, well, you can't really say you have much of a life, right? So I would seriously think in these terms of taking back control over your life. And I wouldn't go out of my way to flaunt your power that you do have with authority figures who would have no qualms against making your life really, really difficult. So if there are rules and regulations in place where you're at, I would just follow those rules and not make a big deal out of them until such time as, it becomes obviously that those rules are nonsense. So, at this time, for the mask mandates, yeah, I wear the mask in the buildings where it's required. required. Whatever. It's really not that big of a skin off my nose. Since the problem with the mask it makes it very difficult to be social, and that's the part I miss the most with the COVID. But me taking off my mask, that doesn't have other people won't take their mask off, so there's no real sense in pressing the issue for me, right? Getting in trouble isn't really what I want to do. It doesn't make being afraid of getting in trouble and getting the authorities to crack down on me. Yeah, that isn't what I want. What I want is a nice, easy life with minimal drama, where my needs are easily met and my desires I'm working on. Okay, and in order to do that, I need my own power. So, power. You want to take back your power. And I would argue that the way that you mostly give up your power is not really the government taking control over you. It's your own personal relationships. It's your own lack of persistent effort on making your own life better. So if you're persistently trying to make your own life better, it's going to be it's unusual that you wouldn't have a good life, right? It's only in the not using persistent effort to try to have a good life where your life would fall apart. Meaning for my case, I got married, and then over time, my wife would just keep taking more and more and more power away from me, and I was just kind of rolling with it, right? I wasn't, demanding that my life be the way I wanted it to be. I was just kind of letting her push my life in the direction that she thought it would go. And, in her limited point of view, making my life worse was, let's say, good for her in the short run, but by driving me away, it makes her life worse in the long run, because, we're not married, right? So she misses out on a great husband who would have gladly taken care of her till my last breath, but now I have no desire to do that, right? She's thoroughly out of my life, so instead of a husband that takes care of his wife his whole life and happily does it, she doesn't have that, right? So, I think for ladies, you should really listen to that idea too. If you could be a little bit nicer to your husbands, I think you'll find you'll have one heck of a lot better life. I think of my mom and other women of that age and how good they were to my father, and how women that older generation was so good to their husbands, and those ladies enjoy a much better life than I think a lot of women who kind of chase their husbands away. But that's a whole different topic. And I'm not saying that modern women are all that way. I'm just saying that there's some that are. So, getting back to that idea of your own power for men, this is a Happier Man website, and Leave Your Wife is written for men, but you want to take, you want to think of it, you have total power over yourself, and you're choosing to, go along with the authorities at this time with whatever mandates they have in place. That is just so you can avoid the repercussions of of what they might do to you. So I don't want you to just roll over and just take it all the time, but you got to know how to fight your battles. So with me, the battle was with my wife, living with her, taking her verbal abuse, not having any say in my life. That was the battle that I decided to fight, and the battle that I ultimately won. It was a battle. It was a big battle. It took a long time, and it wasn't clear for many years if I would survive, but I did, and it's all good, and it's all great for me, actually, and it turned out great for my 2 children. And anyway, you have tremendous power. You have tremendous power in that little bubble around yourself, and just because the authorities are kind of cracking down on the world at large with various rules and regulations doesn't mean you still don't have tremendous power. So give that idea some thought, all for now.